All right, good morning, Transformers fans. Welcome to the Saturday of TFCon. I'm sure many of you spent a little bit of money in the dealer room already, and probably will, a bit more of this later this weekend. I know I will. So thank you so much again for being here today. So we're going to open up the panel room and start with our panels. Now, just a couple little bits of housekeeping. For the Q&A sections of our panels, please come up and step up to the mic and line up when you have questions, when that section of the panel is open. We want to make sure that everyone in the room hears the questions being asked, as well as the answers. And just kind of a mindful, reminder, if you have a phone making noise or if you are playing with one of the figures you bought, just remember to be respectful to both the panelists and the people around you, so that everyone can enjoy the content that we're here to celebrate. So thank you so much. We are going to kickstart the day with a panel called More Than Meets the Eye, Where Blindness and Transformers Intersect, brought to us by Blind Prime. So Blind Prime, take it away, my friend. Big TFCon round of applause. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Paul. Good morning, everybody. I hope y'all are also enjoying the TFCon as much as I am. This is my first one. And I also want to let you know it's Blind Awareness Month. That's what October's all about, is raising awareness for the blind. So this is really fun and exciting to be able to be a blind person raising awareness for the blind during Blind Month at a Transformers convention. So how cool is that? Yeah. Y'all are part of something fun. So the game plan here today is I'm going to showcase, I got Cosmos here, and I'm going to show you how I, as a blind person, learn Cosmos. I opened this box last night to get all the stuff out so I wouldn't have any problems today, but that's the most I've touched it. So yeah, let's get started on this and learn how I do this. First off, learning how to open the box in the right direction, that'd be helpful. So, yeah, I really enjoy the Transformers when they come in vehicle mode, because they're a lot easier to figure out. That robot mode is a pain to figure out to get into a vehicle. So what I do with whenever I'm learning how to transform a Transformer is I just kind of move around and feel everywhere and figure out what parts of the Transformer can actually be distinguished from other parts of the Transformer. And it can take a little bit, and it's a little troublesome sometimes, but you figure it out. And eventually you learn how to transform Cosmos. And actually, the animation's a lot of fun, isn't that neat? And sometimes pieces fall off. But, you expect that to happen. We're just going to put that in the box for now. Now, just figure out how to get his head out. I think it'd be good. But no, years ago, back in 2020, I started doing this because I came across the Studio Series Devastator toys. And I thought to myself, I'd sworn to myself when I was younger, if I ever came across another Devastator, I was never going to let it slip from my fingers ever again. Because I'd let plenty of Devastators slip through my fingers in the past. And I picked it up. I get home with the Devastator and I start transforming it. And just so you guys know, I was very addicted to video games before I lost my vision. Like, incredibly addicted to video games. And it really helped me get over my addiction to video games to have something to actually, work with my hands and communicate with other people through it. And so I got online because I had trouble with Demolisher. And I'm like, I don't know how to transform this guy. And nobody online was really giving me any great explanations on how to transform him. So I ended up deciding to myself that I was going to start a channel teaching people how to transform stuff for the blind. And maybe that would help me learn how to transform things better by just doing it. There we go. Oh, that's a tough joint. My God. Did not expect that one to be so tough. So that's kind of where I got started, watching a bunch of YouTube videos and just getting completely upset that I could not find any way to learn how to transform these guys. And I finally decided to make my own YouTube channel. There it goes. And once I made my own YouTube channel, it was all about describing things for the visually impaired, and then I took it a step further and started doing, originally it was more than meets blindformers, which blindformers was about doing verbal descriptions on how to transform something for the blind. And that was something nice, but then I wanted to do more. So I started doing more than meets the eye, where I actually described things in the sense of doing a typical review for something. There it goes. Yeah, there's little cosmos, I think. But that's the fun thing about these guys. You can come back to them and figure them out over and over and over again. So I started working on it to develop more aids for the blind. I started doing things like blind talks and blind tricks, and yeah, that's a little cosmos. That's nice. So that's kind of how I figure out a transformer. Is I just fiddle with it a lot. I'm pretty sure this isn't exactly correct, but given a little more time going over it, I'll figure it out even more. Now, the reason I'm here speaking to you today is because the entire point of my channel is to raise awareness for the blind through alternative means and methods. And this means not doing the normal thing. I'm not a person who likes doing the normal thing. I'm an individual who likes going out there and finding my blue oceans. I don't know if any of you had to study business in college, but I was forced to read this book, Red Ocean, Blue Ocean. And it taught me a lot about looking for opportunities and discovering where there were places you could go that no one's a void, if you will. Discovering how to fill a void. And I've taken the approach of there's a void in a blind person reviewing action figures, and figured if there were people who like action figures and they see a blind person doing this, then they'll remember blind people more, and they'll actually be more intrigued and interested and question things. And that's what raising awareness is all about. It's about getting asking questions instead of just never thinking about it in the first place. After all, how many of you are going to leave this room thinking you're asking questions about blindness and what other blind people can do? And it's all about this. It's all about raising awareness. And well, I usually have a cat here at some point to interrupt. But other things I've done on my channel are I've covered blind armor, which is why I brought my hat today. This is blind armor, and I totally put it on the mic. The way I see it as blind armor is that when you have your blind cane, you cannot see the ground. This hat sees everything that's above the ground for me. And it protects me from getting scars. Not too well, because I still get them. Before I finish up, because I know my time may be running low soon, I wanted to talk to you about something I consider to be, do you know what the term STEAM is? And so you know STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Well, I believe strongly that Transformers aren't STEM toys, they're STEAM toys. Science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And that artistic approach is what kind of makes it all the better. And that's why I tell people all the time, STEAM toys is a Transformer toy, like Lego. So I'd like to open it up for any questions, if any of you have anything for me.
If you have questions, please just step right up to the mic.
Nobody be shy, come on. I'm here to answer your questions today.
Hello, making sure this is working. I was actually remembered when I first saw your channel. It was on a post on Reddit recommending that, oh, here's this new YouTuber that's uploading this kind of stuff. And I was mostly curious about how did it feel to you as a small YouTube channel actually getting recognized by TFCon and being able to speak to such a large audience?
Honestly, at the beginning, I thought Colin was punking me. I sent out the email on a whim back in May. I was just like, yeah, screw it. I'll try and see what happens, because that's how life works. You try new things and you see what happens. And he got back to me, and over the span of the summer, we messaged each other multiple times. And it took me finding my title of this thing on the actual schedule before I popped a beer and celebrated. And knowing that it wasn't, this is all real, it's actually happening. And then I had the panic attack,
Yeah, thank you very much.
What was it that got you into Transformers?
Oh, when I was a kid, I really got into them. They had 5 a.m. Transformers where I lived. At like 5 in the morning, they would start doing the episodes, the old G1 stuff. And my father worked swing shifts, where he would work 12 hours at night and arrive home at 5 a.m., or he would be leaving at around 5 a.m. to go to work. And so I would be sitting there in the dark living room watching Transformers, the rest of the family asleep, and Dad would walk in with his cup of coffee and go, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, watching Transformers." Like, "Don't wake your family up, don't wake Mom, don't wake your brothers, I'm going to work, love you." I'm like, "Love you too, Dad, have fun at work." And those moments held a special place in my heart. It wasn't much, but it was always just a few seconds of me and him talking by ourselves. It was our little time in the morning. And that started the seed for Transformers for me. And when I lost my vision and went completely blind, I was heavily addicted to video games. I mean, Minecraft and me, 200 plus hours a week, I was on it. And I was suffering from withdrawal from video game addiction. And depression, itchy fingers, trying to figure out what your fingers are going to do. It wasn't until I picked up the Mixmaster from the Studio series and started transforming it, and the Demolisher there, that my fingers started thanking me. I'm like, we're doing something again, and my brain started working like it did with video games, and I felt it again. And so I started just collecting more Transformers to kind of fill the gap that video games left behind in their wake.
Thank you.
Hey, I have a question for you. Like, out of all the Transformers that you're able to transform, which one was the most difficult to complete?
The most difficult Transformer. Honestly, it would be Siege Ultra Magnus, and it's not the difficulty of the transformation, it's just getting everything to click into place, right? That is my least favorite Transformer right there. I do not like him, and I never get him right.
Platformers. You gotta love them. Well, thank you.
So I was wondering if you still have the Devastator that you first got.
Oh, Studio Series Devastator?
Yeah.
Yeah, it took me a couple of years to collect all the pieces, but I'm never going to get rid of it.
Oh, and also another question. Have you transformed Kingdom Rhinox before?
Oh, yes. I actually have it in my video. I have some videos on him. If you check him out on my YouTube channel, just look for the Kingdom Rhinox. I try to separate things based on the line they came from. So he should be in there in Blindformers, the Kingdom Collection, or the More Than Meets the Eye, the Kingdom Collection.
How did you feel when you first saw the show?
Oh, when I first saw the Transformers show?
Yes.
I absolutely loved it. It was those big robots, and what got me the most about it wasn't a kid going around, hanging around with them. All the other shows I watched, there were kids involved, and these were adults. I mean, Spike was in his 20s, getting his engineering degree, his electrician's license. He was becoming a master electrician, apprenticing under his father, Sparkplug, and that kind of shined with me, and it connected with the fact that I would watch this show with my dad in the morning, and so it was this father-son duo in the show, and it strummed my heartstrings and really got me attached to it. It was Spike and Sparkplug that did it for me.
You said you like playing video games. Did you ever play the War for Cybertron games? Either one of them?
Yeah, I played the War for Cybertron games. Played online a lot on Xbox Live. when it first came out.
What's your opinion on those games?
Oh, I Fall of Cybertron, messa, but the War for Cybertron, two thumbs all the way up. I love that game completely.
To follow up on what a couple other people were talking about, out of all the Transformers that you were able to figure out and transform in that, which one was your favorite out of all of them?
My favorite out of all of them, that's actually a toss-up between Omega Supreme from Siege, then the Brawn from Studio Series 86, and Ultra Magnus from Studio Series 86. I just did a video series on him, and I've never been happier messing with a Transformer than with Studio Series 86 Ultra Magnus. That thing just took me back. Because when I was a kid, I had two Transformers toys. I had the original Optimus Prime and the original Ultra Magnus. And so it just kind of took me back to those days.
Hello. What inspired you to use a Wii Fit balance board as your main tabletop?
Thank you for asking that question. The cross section that they have on it. If you get a Wii Fit board, they have the line that goes all the way across that you can feel, and then the other line that goes up like a graphic, like a XY chart. And that helped me out. I could line up my camera with the vertical line, and then use the horizontal line to separate my little stage into quadrants, so I would better understand what I was doing, and I wouldn't get lost a lot. So it's got a lot of textures on it that really assist.
Thank you.
Oh, and one more thing. It was taking up space underneath a bookshelf, and I finally wanted to put it to use.
My question is, I love video games too. Do they make any video games that you can play as a blind person?
The Alexa has plenty of them. You can do the audio description adventures with Alexa, but there's not too many video games I have found that actually allow for that, the audio description aspect. There are developers out now trying to develop games that can do that, and Minecraft is trying to help out with visual impairment, not blindness, but you can get some help. They've included some accessibility software into the newer Minecraft games that will allow you to have some audio description available. But it's just not enough for a completely blind person. But somebody who's got a lot of vision loss, that really will help them out.
Thanks.
I think it's amazing what you're doing, and I'm assuming you're wildly imaginative at this point. Have you ever been approached to produce your own Transformers, your own line, or articulate something different than what's out there?
Honestly, I've got plans to build play sets. I have this idea for magnetically connected together play sets that you could sell in small chunks. So if you wanted it, like the Castle Grayskull, you could sell it in little chunks, like little rooms and stuff that would magnetic to each other. And that would keep the cost of a play set down to like $50 a piece. And you just buy individual parts and can change your play set how you will. So I've been working on designs on developing that, and hopefully using the YouTube channel as a springboard to get into that eventually.
You've mentioned your enjoyment of the original Generation 1 Transformers cartoon. Have you seen and have any thoughts about the others that have come in the years since?
Now, this one, yeah, and I have actually a favorite. And this one may upset some people because not everybody considers it their favorite. But Robots in Disguise 2000, that was where it's at. I love that one. And I wish I would see more toys from it because that Optimus Prime Megatron, Ultra Magnus duo was excellent. And I dread that Megatron because I know when it comes out, I'm gonna have to do it on my channel, and that's gonna take like 2 weeks with all the transformations. Because I do a video per transformation. I see the Transformers as 3 separate toys: robot, transformation, and alternate mode. And of course, there can be more alternate modes, but those are the initial 3. And so I separate my videos into those 3 aspects. I'll cover the robot, I'll go in and I'll cover the transformation separately, and then I'll cover the alternate modes separately, because they're each an individual toy.
Hello. Oh, sorry.
So you had mentioned you had lost your vision, obviously. So I was curious what the difference in relationship between before and after you'd lost your vision was with Transformers, your love for it and all.
Well, I tell you, I don't worry about the paint near as much as I used to. I do find myself being more attracted to different kinds of plastics than other types. I don't like any of the stuff from that Prime trilogy, Combiner Wars and Titan's Return. Like, it's all good things, but the plastic that they made it out of it feels weird in my hand, and I don't like touching it. And I wish they'd bring back rubber wheels. They did that with Beachcomber, and that'd be something nice. Not much has really changed except the way that I handle the transformation. I used to read the little instruction sheet, now I don't. And I used to care about paint, now I don't. But that's the nice thing about Transformers, is you don't need vision. And I've actually been setting up a thing I call the Transformers Challenge. And that's you find one of the Transformers I've covered on my channel in the hashtag Transformers Challenge, and then you try to beat my time of moving it from vehicle mode to robot mode and back to vehicle mode again.
Thank you.
Approximately, just as someone new to your channel, how often do you post videos, and how long does it take to record each video?
I post videos Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I do 5 days. Friday is devoted to building Braille, where I teach individuals how to build Braille out of Lego, or blind builds in general. I generally keep Fridays for blind builds, which is what I call it anytime I'm messing with Lego on my channel. And Mondays are devoted to 1/12 scale action figures or action figure accessories, or diorama stuff to go with your action figures. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is devoted to Transformers. But I may cover a repaint or a retool, so I'm not going to cover its transformation again because I already did that. So I'll take a Wednesday off occasionally. Like a couple of weeks ago, I covered the G2 Seekers, and I didn't really do many videos on them because I'd already covered the Earthrise Seekers so in-depthly. Oh, right, the time it takes to make videos. That ranges. Sometimes I can sit down and like that, I got a video out. Or other times I can sit down and 3 hours later I've made a 15-minute video. And I do every one of my videos in one shot. Those are all one-take videos. I sit down and start talking, and if I flub it up in any time during the video, I've got to scrap it, and I got to transform the transformer back into what it was before, or set my entire stage back up and start again. And that can take all day sometimes, depending on the complexity of the transformer and the amount of interruptions I've had during filming.
So you mentioned your lack of character paint for obvious reasons, but how would that affect your enjoyment of different cloned characters in those, like Seekers and stuff like that?
I have no way. I was telling someone this last night. I have a bunch of Tetra fighters from Siege. Like I'm missing Red Wing, the Dead-Eyed one, and Skyward. But I have the other ones, and I couldn't tell you which one was which. And but that's that collecting bug, right? Even if you can't see them, you want them all. I still want those last 3 to finish the collection, even though I won't see it. People will come by my house and they'll go, "Wow, look at all those different colored dudes over there." And that's something you got to remember as a visually impaired person or a blind person. And not everybody around you is that way. So I like to set my home up so my friends and my family who have vision have something fun to look at around the house that's not boring. So I'm constantly going around and changing how I set up my Transformers, and I set out the ones I don't mind people playing with in easy reach, so if anyone just wants to grab a Transformer and play with it, they can.
So I'm not sure what the timetable was when you had vision and when it went away, and how that translates to, you fondly remember the G1 characters, so you know what Cosmos looks like. So a new character has come out since the Transformers where you bought the toy, but you have no visual memory reference of that character. How do you imagine that? Do you feel the toy, the textures, and get a feel of how the face looks, and how it would look in if you had your vision back?
Yeah, it's I have an idea of what it looks like in my head, and I tell you, right off, like if I got my vision back today and looked at everything, I would be confused by some of them. Because I just automatically give colors to things, and then I'll be like, yeah, this red guy over here, and the friend would go, actually, that's purple and blue. I'm like, oh, well, you know, it's red in my head. So, it's an experience, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, good morning. So when you're going about recording and editing your videos, is that something you like do completely on your own, or do you like get external help when you're going about that?
Oh no, if you watch my channel, I have these things called cave chunks that I make, which is something I want to turn into Lego ideas eventually. I take 2 cave chunks and I built a camera stand on top of them, and I moved them far back away from the table. I almost brought them today, but I didn't. And then I have a long line of Legos from the cave chunks that go to my Wii Fit board. And I put the camera on top of the cave chunks in my custom designed camera holder. And I use a stylus pen to click a button and then it will play. I have earbuds that will allow the, if you look at my older videos, they'll say like notification volume 0% at the beginning. That's before I got the earbuds. Now that will say it in my ear and it won't interrupt with the microphone. But that's all me. That's why if it gets blurry or something, I tell people that's just a way of raising awareness for the blind. You get to experience for a moment what happens with blurry vision. And don't get mad if it gets fuzzy. Just understand that for some people, fuzziness is a way of life.
Thank you.
So how big is your current collection of Transformers?
At the moment, I think 180. Because I've gotten a couple of recolors and retools that I haven't covered on my channel specifically, but I think Blindformers is at 168. So I've definitely done 168 Transformers on camera. And Cosmos would be 169.
All right, so it's the MC John here. Do we have any last minute questions before we wrap up? Yeah, feel free to step up to the mic.
Yeah, come on, ask it tough.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
So my there's just one last question. It's a big end right here, but what are you gonna say to like those that are trying to follow in your footsteps on this whole thing? What I'm trying to say is, what's your whole inspirational thing to say?
My inspirational thing to say
to all your fans out
is
here.
Don't worry about the waves you make, because you know when you're going in your own journey, in your own path, sometimes you will make waves. But if you're constantly stopping to turn around and see where the waves are going, you're not going to move forward very quickly. And it's important to remember, you know, don't worry so much about the waves. Sometimes the waves can help people. There could be a surfer nearby enjoying your waves.
Thank you, sir.
Do you like still consume certain media from Transformers? Like, for example, the Bumblebee movie, by like listening to an audio description of it?
Oh, yes. Actually, if y'all did not know this, all movie theaters in this part of the country at least will allow you to get audio description. You can walk up to the customer service desk and request either visual aid, audio description, or hearing aid loudspeaker. Like you can plug in a thing and it will actually say the movie louder in your ear in case you have hearing problems. Or you can plug in your own headset and listen to audio description while the movie's going on. And they just released glasses that will do subtitles that you can put on. You can wear some glasses and read subtitles underneath the people that speak, which is pretty cool. But yeah, as long as it's got audio description, I enjoy it, and I'll consume it. I'm waiting on anime to start getting English audio description. There's a lot of Japanese, and I'm worried I'm going to have to learn Japanese to enjoy anime again. Because no English company audio describes anime, and it's starting to annoy me. I wish there was a Transformers TV show that had audio description that wasn't War for Cybertron.
Out of all of the Transformers media that you've watched, which has your favorite interpretation of a character?
Out of all of them that I've watched, which has the favorite interpretation of a character? That's a little. You know, that one's a toss-up between the. Ultra Magnus has been. He is my favorite character in Transformers. So it's a toss-up between the Ultra Magnus from the original movie, which was a good representation of that character, or the Ultra Magnus from Robots in Disguise 2000. That was also a great one, and I enjoyed the duality of the two brothers in that show, Optimus Prime and Ultra Magnus, and I really appreciated that. It was really cool.
Hello. Excuse me if you've already explained this already, but how did you go about designing and creating your cave chunks?
My cave chunks?
Yeah.
Way back when, the Minecraft released those Lego Minecraft minis things, and that gave me the initial idea, but when I lost my vision, initially I needed something like Minecraft to help me get over the depression of the loss of vision. And I designed the cave chunks because I wanted to build Minecraft caves. I wanted to experience the running through caves again. And I started realizing if I did it right and made it modular, then I could turn these cave chunks into a cave mountain or a ravine or something like that. I could just shift them around and move them. And it's just slowly evolved since 2000, and I think I came up with those in 2017, and it's just been evolving and changing ever since. And of course, Cream the Cat took out half of my mountain. I did an entire video on the mountain, and you can find it in my earlier videos. Big mountain I set up on my desk, and maybe 2 weeks later, my cat was trying to get my attention, so he jumped up on the table that the mountain was on, and I had a piece of cloth so I could slide everything around. I had put a cloth down, and he grabbed the cloth with his claws when he jumped up there, but then noticed he couldn't actually stand on it, so he tried to jump away, and his claw was still stuck, so he ended up doing like that bird thing, just going straight out and then falling flat on the ground. And I was standing right there when it happened, and I'm like, no, Cream, no! And then the entire mountain came down on top of him, and he just came running out of the room, dragging the piece of cloth away. And I was amazed by how many cave chunks survived, but also it surprised me how many Lego pieces just shattered from the impact. Like, oh, I discovered how much force it takes to shatter a Lego brick today.
All right. Well, thank you.
We had a question from one of our live streamers. They wanted to know what other toy lines you collect and what equipment do you use?
I collect G.I. Joe Classified, the occasional Marvel Legend whenever there's actually a character I care about. Like I'm trying to collect the Summers family right now. I still got to get Corsair. And other than that, I don't really collect many others, but that's budgetary reasons. Every day those figures are increasing another $1. It seems like every other year they're increasing by 2. And I don't have the budget to collect as much as I would like to, so I force myself to keep it on the G.I. Joe and Transformers front with the occasional Marvel Legends.
And then what is your visual assistive equipment that you use?
Visual assisted equipment is TalkBack on my phone. They always told you when you were growing up they don't want any TalkBack from you, but now I want TalkBack from everything. Give me TalkBack, I don't care. It tells me where you're at. And I use little devices to tell me what currency is, because all the currency in America is the same shape and size and consistency. And for a blind person, it's somebody could pass me $1 in change and tell me it's a $100 bill, and I'd happily believe them because I'm forced to. So until America changes its money, I love Canadian money. Every time I go up there, I hold it, and I'm just like, this is a blind man's paradise. I'm holding a $1 bill, guys, and I didn't need a technology piece to tell me it's $1. It's so great. I can tip appropriately.
And then what is your overall attitude towards the HasLab projects? I know you've had a couple of them.
My thoughts on the HasLab projects are that I love the idea behind it of a dream project that you fund and then you wait a year to get. But I don't love the fact that there's not much transparency going on there. Like, you know, you pay for the figures and stuff, and then you'll get an email maybe 6 months later going, hey, this is going on, and then maybe you'll get an email before it ships, or maybe one more. But you know, I'm looking for a little more consistency with the transparency in there. Maybe once every couple of months, just send out the HasLab newsletter. That would be very helpful. Like, oh, hey, we haven't really done much on the project yet, waiting on the ship to cross the ocean. You know, and that's what a lot of fans want. They just want that one sentence, still waiting on the ship to cross the ocean. And then they clam up. They're like, oh, well, thank you. You know, transparency rocks. That's my thoughts on it. Is I love the idea behind HasLabs. I just wish they were more transparent about the process.
All right, so MC John here. That brings us to the end of our questions. Blind Prime, thank you so much for sharing with us your story, your journey.
I love the fact that my first Transformers convention is one I got to speak at. So thank you all for coming and listening to me.
Thank you so much. You
Means
made it a
lot.
very memorable one, my friend. All right, friends, we're going to take a short little break, but coming up next, we have a panel with some G1 voice actors you might know as Dan Gilvezan and Victor. So stay with us. We're going to begin on top of the hour. Thank you so much.
Thanks, mate.